Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Volvo 300 series of vehicles. Welcome back. So the Volvo 300 series of vehicles, they were small family cars and they were rear-wheel drive. They were produced between 1976 and 1991, and they wouldn't have come about if it wasn't for Volvo's acquisition of DAF, or in fact having a large share of DAF at this time. Now the brochure we're going to look at today is from 1983 and it shows the Volvo 340 and 360. So let's have a look at that now. So there we go, the Volvo 340 360 brochure, UK 1983. Yeah, this front cover has got a little bit of wear over the time, but overall isn't too bad condition. So where does the story start? Well, DAF began development in 1970 for a project called P900. But things changed. Obviously, DAF really lost a major share. Really, by 1973, a third stake was owned by Volvo, and then later on, by 75, Volvo owned 3/4 share in the passenger car division. So that kind of like ended the project in a way. Really, this was a car that was really going to be designed to replace the DAF 66. It probably would have been known as the DAF 77, but obviously when Volvo got a huge share in DAF, they took this vehicle for their own. They did some minor changes to make it more Volvo-esque, and the Volvo 340 360 came in existence. The 340 came first, the 360 later on. Like I said, this brochure is from 83. Now the thing about 1983, these Volvos were sold as 3 doors or 5 doors. These are like hatchbacks at this time, although later on there was kind of like a notchback type saloon, but at this stage they are hatchbacks. Now Volvo used to have a tradition of these numbers actually meaning something. So 3 was your whatever series of vehicle it is. The centre one was how many cylinders the engine had, and the last number there was how many doors they had. So in this case, this is a 5-door car, so it would, for example, be a Volvo 345. But by 83, they decided not to bother with them door numbers anymore. So rather than having a 343 or a 345, they decided to scrap it and just call it a 0 on every one. The other interesting thing with these numbers, like I said previously, this middle number used to mean how many cylinders the car had. Again, they kind of like scrapped that idea over time. Yes, the 340 is a 4-cylinder engine, but in this case the 360 is also a 4-cylinder engine. They're just trying to make this look like a higher spec model, or to make it stand out. It did have a larger engine, but it wasn't a 6-cylinder engine. Anyway, let's have a look at the brochure itself and see what we can see inside. So this particular brochure opens up a few different ways. It opens like that and then it opens again. So we'll look at that in a moment, but as we open it up we can see a couple of the models. Here being the 5-door model, here of course the 3-door, and it says the 1983 Volvo 300 series, an expression of individuality. What we'll do, we'll zoom in on this nice dashboard shot and some of this writing here and see what it's got to say for itself. So as we zoom into the first picture here, this particular version is the GLT, or the top of the range model. You can see that basically it's got a banner saying GLT, but it also had these extra lights on here and this little rear spoiler as well. It was also apparently a little bit lower to the ground. Interesting things with these Volvos is, of course, the popularity for that sort of headlight wipers was certainly growing, and Volvo used to really like adding those on, particularly to the higher spec cars. But as we move down, we can have a look at the interior shot and a little bit of writing on there as well. So it says that the new 1983 Volvo 300 series embodies all the virtues which have given Volvo its individual personality and unique reputation throughout the world. A reputation based on reliability, safety, comfort, durability and value for money. For 1983, our Volvo 300 series range has broadened with the introduction of the new 2-litre models, the refined and powerful 360 GLS and the high-performance 360 GLT. The 1986cc Volvo engine of the 360 GLT is equipped with fuel injection and follows closely in the Volvo 200 GLT tradition. It has a top speed well over 112 miles per hour with crisp acceleration from 0 to 60 in 10.7 seconds. A rear aerofoil on the 360 GLT completes the distinctive aerodynamically effective body design. The GLT has a low drag, and it says here radio here features a genuine Volvo accessory. Now I'm always surprised when it talks about the Volvo 300 series having a low drag, because really it's a square boxy design. This is no Citroen here. It really looks like a very boxy design, and indeed it was a very heavy car compared to equal models from other manufacturers at the same time, but nevertheless it was still a great car. And indeed, as we move over to the opposite page, it's telling us that coefficient of 0.395 CD, which is certainly very good for something that looks so boxy. It goes on to tell us some about the features of that top model, such extras as a 5-speed gearbox. It then goes on to tell us a little bit about the more basic models, the DL and the GL. They've just got a 4-speed gearbox though, although there is a Volvo Auto option. It also tells the Volvo 300 series product program, a unique range of cars combining traditional Volvo saloon car luxury with Volvo estate versatility, really referring to them as being hatchbacks. As we move down, it does show a picture of a 3-door, a much more basic model. I'm not sure if that's a DL or a GL, but certainly a more basic model, having this chrome, much thinner rubbing strip, as you can see there. The right at the bottom goes on to talk about the interior, and shows this what it refers to as a blue plush interior. Certainly doesn't look anywhere near as comfortable as the French cars, but certainly you can guarantee with it being a Volvo product, really safety is at the forefront of the design. So then the brochure opens still further to an even more long fold out style brochure. Basically this is all telling us about, it says discover Volvo's exclusive qualities. We're not going to look at every single one because the video would be way too long, but I particularly like this cutaway section, really showing you that hatchback design, and of course the drive shaft showing that this is a rear wheel drive car. It then goes on to show us how versatile it is, having a hatchback and the folding seats. Again, going back to that principle of the Volvo estate in a small car kind of idea. It does of course promote the safety of the car, taking away worries of Volvo owners being a smaller car, but it's still saying it's a very safe vehicle. When we fold the brochure back up again, we can turn to the back page where we can find the specifications. So let's zoom in and have a look at those. So there you go, the technical specifications between the 340, which is the DL or GL, or the 360, which could be had as a GLS or a GLT. The 340 having the 1397cc engine, and the 360 having the 1986cc engine. And like I said earlier, all of them are 4-cylinder engines, moving away from that tradition of anything with having a 6 as the middle number being a 6-cylinder engine. Other than that, the fuel system is a carburetor on the 340 and 360, unless you optioned for that GLT, and then you could have it as an injection, or it was an injection, that's how it came. And as you look down the list, this is a very something interesting of the time. He's telling us here you could have an LPG conversion possible on the 2 lower models, but not the top of the range with that injection. Of course, LPG was all the thing early 80s, late 80s as an alternative for rising gas prices. And as we move down the list there, it gives us a little bit of an idea of the weights. Like I say, one of the drawbacks of this particular car, it was much heavier than the competition. If we can just focus that in a little better, or get it to focus in. There we go. Yeah, it was much heavier than the competition, like I say, so that was certainly a drawback with this particular Volvo. And it also gives this rather a nice little graphic showing the dimensions. So there we go, the Volvo 300 series of small family cars, considered at the time to be heavy and underpowered, but also a safe, reliable form of transportation. Thank you so much for watching Quarterlight today. There'll be many more brochure reviews in the near future, so please do like and subscribe. It's all free. But for now, we'll say take care and goodbye.